DJ Dewey Rock on the track.
Welcome to Emerge Podcast 360. I'm your host, Maserati. We want to thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are in this metaverse world, we're going to continue to bring you the best quality content and formula that we know how. We got a great show lined up for you today. We have a very special guest in the building. We want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank you for all the likes, shares, and subscriptions on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram thus far. It's Beyond the Game with Strop City baller and legend. It's Kenny Natt in the building. We want to thank him for joining in. He's a Bastrop native. He's the one sibling of 5. He was a BHS All-State and All-American. He's a graduate of Bastrop High School in 1976. He's an NLU All-American, where he was an All-American for the Sun Belt Conference, where he graduated from ULM in 1980. He was drafted in 1980 in the second round, the 30th selection in the NBA by the Indiana Pacers, where he went on to play in the NBA for such teams as the Utah Jazz, in the CBA, and in the ABA. He was assistant coach for a long time in the NBA with such teams as the Cleveland Cavaliers, where he went on and became the interim head coach in 2007 for the Sacramento Kings. He was inducted to the ULM Hall of Fame in 2002. He is the founder of the All Nets Hoop Foundation and Academy, and he's also the founder and executive director for the Pelican State Youth Movement here locally at home. Ladies and gentlemen, please, legend, please, people, we got a legend in the building. Stand up and listen to the legendary Strop City baller, Mr. Kenny Natt. How you doing today, Mr. Natt?
Hey, I'm doing good, Liabri. How are you? How's Emerge 360 Nation?
We're doing good. We're just great to have our third official Hall of Famer on the show. We greatly appreciate you stopping in and dropping some jewels and gems on us this evening.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm pleased to have this opportunity, and hopefully I can share something with you that excites the audience.
Right. I'm just so excited to have you. I want you to kind of share with the people how was it for you growing up here in the big old city of Strop City, Louisiana?
As you know, I mean, Bastrop is something that I take pride in. It's a proud city. Came up on the Forrest side of town, Forrest Park, and born and raised in a family of 6 siblings with parents of faith. My father was a minister. My mother was a missionary. And yes, we were in church a lot. But when we weren't in church, we were playing basketball and training. So we were called the Crazy Natt Boys over on Forrest Park side.
Right. I remember coming up, my dad offered us a lot of time to spend with you guys almost every Saturday. I remember stopping by and you guys would put us on your neck and let us dunk and do various things coming up. Kind of share with the rest of the youth in the community about how it was being one of the Natt boys coming up in a competitive household like that.
Yes, as I said, I'm one of the 6 siblings. I'm the middle. I'm in the middle. Calvin and I are in the middle. There's 2 younger brothers and sisters, Evelyn and Carl, and 2 older brothers, 2 older brothers and sisters that is living there in the household with us. We set the tone for us. My older brother was a football player, really athletic, heavy set, ended up playing, graduated from Morehouse High, and transitioned from there and played football at Grambling. So we, growing up, Calvin and I, my other smaller sibling, we were always involved in sports. So it was something that was embedded in our lives. And people often ask, "Is your mother or father play?" I said, "Absolutely not. They did they did not play." And from what I know, I don't know of anyone else in my family that was really into sports and playing. But when the Lord has a blessing for you, He gives it to you. And thank God for Miss Inez Grant, number one, who introduced the sport to Calvin and I in the fourth and third grade. I was in third, he was in the fourth grade, and she introduced the game of basketball to us by way of a PE class. So I tell all the boys and girls today, you never know what lies ahead for you in your future. Did Calvin and I realize that we someday would love the game of basketball to the point where we excel at it in high school and then get full ride scholarships in college and become all Americans and all states and all conference and get drafted into the NBA. Calvin number 8 overall, and then I followed him the next year, number 30. No one could have told me or had any idea that we would be blessed to that extent. And that's why I really like what we're doing with our Pelican State Youth Movement program that we've been operating there in Vassar for past 20 years. Actually, this year was our 20th anniversary of Pelican State Youth Movement programming and life skills enrichment. That's what we are interested in doing, is introducing the game of basketball and football, which are traditional sports, but the purpose of it is to expose them to non-traditional sports and opportunities such as golf and tennis and baseball, soccer, you name it. Those are the sports that we try and focus on and getting them and hopefully expose them and enlighten in a way that even they may become golfers, or they may become tennis players, receiving scholarships to college in those different sports. So that's the purpose behind Pelican State Youth Movement. We operate. It really gives me honor and pleasure to work with our kids every year. And I have a wonderful staff of volunteers and former players and athletes and teachers that really help us to run that program and continue to expand the opportunities for our kids there in Vassar.
Right, and I understand exactly where you're coming from. You try to give them a multi-sports camp that introduce and expose them to more than just one thing, because like you said, you never know until you expose a child to something that you'll learn what they're capable and willing to do. So how do you feel about the youth movement now and the participation level and the drive that the youth are taking with their skill set?
We've seen enormous success. We've accomplishing what we really like to do in the program. We're continuing it to grow. It existed primarily as a summer program because all of my years of coaching in the NBA and since we started the program in 2002, that was the only time that I was really available in the summer to come home and operate. But now our hope is to expand it into year-round programming. I have moved back to the region, come full circle. Thank God for that opportunity and all the blessings that I've had to travel the country, travel the world, and working with youth and young adults throughout the world. And now have an opportunity to return back to my hometown area and expand Pelican State services to full-time, year-round services. That's the goal that we're looking to do now. It's really exciting to see and hear the kids enjoying golf, to see the kids performing and enjoying tennis or soccer or baseball or track and field, all these things that traditionally our kids have not had an opportunity to be exposed to. at the end of camp, I always ask, one of the first questions I ask is, who enjoyed whatever sport that we were sharing with the kids each year? Who enjoyed golf today? And it's amazing to see all the hands that are raised, that they really enjoyed golf. They really enjoyed soccer and sports like that you never really know. As you and I both know, having advanced on to a higher level in sports, you never know what kids are capable of doing. I mean, we could have another Venus Williams or Serena right there in Bastrop. All you do is introduce the sport of tennis to them, and someone will grasp it and maybe run with it. And that's what our program is all about. And what we're expanding that the program from beyond just sports training. We're also instilling life skill enrichment training. So we're exposing them to alternative careers in sports, like broadcasting, like becoming an athletic trainer, like maybe becoming a physical therapist who treats athletes, becoming a general manager of a team, managing, becoming a coach or a trainer, training athletes. So we are exposing the kids to things that we didn't really have that opportunity to receive. But fortunate enough, we were able to make it. Thank God for the blessings. And now it's about paying it forward now. We're bringing it back and giving back to the kids the blessings that we've been blessed with.
Right, and that's definitely a much needed program. I know you guys been doing it for quite some time now. I know this, and after we take this short intermission, I want you to take us back to the time, the day you get drafted in the NBA. But prior to that, how was it being a ULU Indian, and what was your motivation when you was in college that pushed you to the next level? We'll be right back with legendary Strop City baller Kenny Natt. Welcome back. This is being brought to you by Involved Social and Civic Club, where we understand the social and civic needs of love, learn, live, and laugh. We're still here with legendary Strop City baller Kenny Natt. Mr. Natt, take us back to NLU days, or the NLU Indians, now the ULM Warhawks, when you were playing ball, and I remember broadcasters like the great Lanny James. Take us back to the times of those old NLU Indians.
Those were some exciting times, indeed. One of the things that I tell everyone after I've coached in the NBA and played in the NBA, coached in the NBA, and traveled, I said, one of the most enjoyable times that I've had in my life, and I've experienced a lot of being in the NBA finals and the whole bit, but has no match to the time that we spent in college at NOU, now ULM, as you said. The time that we spent there, and I say we because I was fortunate enough to follow a lot of my high school teammates, including my brother Calvin. I'm only 1 year behind he and Jamie Mayo, Alan Tansey, and so Larry Robinson. I had a platform to just follow. I mean, they laid it out there for me. It was an easy decision for me. Calvin had an opportunity as a brother. He had an opportunity to attend LSU and most other major schools in the country. I remember them coming to our little home over there near Forrest Park, and I mean UCLA, Michigan, Kansas. All these teams were recruiting Calvin, and he decided to stay home. So our mother and father and family and friends could get a chance to see him play, and we really enjoyed that. So it was an easy decision for me to follow in my brother's footsteps. However, it was also a very difficult one for me because, as a brother, having an older brother yourself, anytime that your brother excels, people expect the same level of performance out of you. So that was always a big challenge for me. Calvin set the bar so high. It was oftentimes almost unbearable for me from the pressure standpoint. Calvin was called Calvin Super Natt, and I was called Little Natt, Kenny Little Natt. Right. And the pressures that Calvin's All-American, playing at the top of his game, and obviously everyone felt that I should be playing at that same level, performing at that same level. So it was a lot of pressure on me. He put that pressure on me. At the same time, it was very motivating for me. 3 years at ULM, the first 3 years that I was there at ULM, I came off the bench as a bench player. It wasn't because there were guys that was more talented than me, and I knew that. But those were coaches' decisions that I found out later when I became a coach. Now I understood. But at that time, I was really upset and disappointed and mad that I wasn't a starter, knowing that I should be one with my brother. But I took it as an opportunity to really work on my game and excel each year. And coming off the bench as a sixth man, I was the sparker for the team. But it was tough coming off that bench for 3 years. And then Calvin leaves his senior year, and he becomes the 8th pick in the NBA draft. And so that was extra pressure on me from the standpoint. I have 1 year left in college, and I haven't started in the first 3 years, so I became a starter my senior year when Calvin left. That was my first year having opportunities. So I became a starter and averaging 20 points a game. My senior year, scored over 1,000 points and was named to all conference, first team, all state, Louisiana, and ended up winning the MVP in the All-Star game in Louisiana for all the college seniors. I scored 36 points, hit 9 three-pointers. That was really impressive to the NBA scouts who were in attendance and things of that sort. So I'm saying all that to say that the hard work, the difficult times that I had my first, I'd say 3 years of college, but even before then, coming behind Calvin as a middle schooler and a high schooler, and then transitioning into college, there was always that pressure on me to perform at a higher level. It motivated me to excel, and I was fortunate enough to be drafted, as you said, coming out of NOU by the Indiana Pacers, and had an opportunity to play there my first year, and end up getting cut before the end of the season. So that was my first time being cut. And then I went to the minor leagues of the NBA, which was called the CBA. Phil Jackson was one of my coaches in the minor leagues. So we all have to track sometimes in our lives. We all have to go through a lot of things and disappointments and work our way to the top, just like Phil Jackson did. Coaching in the minor leagues, he was coaching there, and then he worked his way into Chicago and Michael Jordan, and that's his story. From there, Kenny Natt's story was going through all the heartaches and frustrations of being what I felt was unfair, but it encouraged me to keep striving. I was inspired by my brother to keep working hard and inspired, and it worked for me, and I became good player in the minor leagues, a very good player where I was picked up 3 times out of the minor leagues, went to the NBA. The Utah Jazz picked me up. I played with the Jazz. I played with the Spurs. I played with the Kings, and a number of other minor leagues that I played in. And it was a great experience for me because I experienced the ups and downs of that. It's never exciting time or thing to go through in your life and going through struggles and heartaches. But looking back on it now, I would not have traded it in for anything because I feel that I'm a much stronger person, and I represented myself in a positive way all the time. And so that's what basically led to me leaving the game as a player and transitioning into getting an opportunity to coach, because the Utah Jazz had cut me 3 times, and they called me out of the blue and asked me if I'd like to join their coaching staff because I was carrying myself so professionally all the time. Even though they were cutting me and cutting me and cutting me, they felt that it would be a good thing for them to bring me aboard onto Jerry Sloan's staff. And I was there for 9 years on the bench, going to the NBA Finals there in 97 and 98. Back-to-back final losses to Michael Jordan, who has 2 of my rings still. So those things I learned in life that are very painful, but at the same time, they're strengthening. They make you stronger, and you endure a lot. Unlike Calvin, on the other hand, who drafted first round, 8th pick, had 12 years, great years of non-interrupted NBA experiences. Things of that sort. Life is great for him while I was going through all of my ups and downs and pressures. So it's ironic right now, Riari, that guess who calls me for strength? It's Kenny. It's me. The one that all of my brothers and sisters primarily called me and discussed with me how to deal with this or that or handle certain situations. So going through things is not a bad thing. It's just that you just have to persevere and go through them. And if you do, the Lord will bring you through and strengthen you and create you as the strongest person ever. And now here you are. There's nothing that I haven't endured that the young men and women that are inspired to play any sport, not just basketball, but any sport. The golf coach at ULM has asked me to come speak to his golf players. I spoke to the football players at ULM on Thursday night. The football coach invited me over to speak to their guys about perseverance and dealing with life and school and things of that sort. So I'm saying all of this to say, you young men, you young women out there, realize your potential. And anyone out there that has in their heart to work and inspire, Lord has blessed all of us. So if He's blessed you in any way to that you can share with our young men and women of today, that's what we should do. That's our plight in life at this point. So that's what I'm hoping to continue to do. After having an opportunity to play in the NBA and then coach with the Jazz, and then from there into Cleveland and coach LeBron James for his 2nd, 3rd, 4th year in Cleveland, and then from there to Sacramento, coach the Sacramento Kings, and Ron Artest, who is Meta World Peace now, so-called himself. I've coached and played against and some wonderful players, some amazing, amazing athletes. And I will tell you, they all pretty much have the same story of hard work and perseverance. Yes, some roads are a lot easier than others, but at the same time, we all have one thing in common. Nothing was handed to us. It's the work you put in You put it in, you get it out, as you know, Leopold. You know, you put that work in, that's your chance and opportunity to reap the benefits of that. So I'm grateful for the opportunity and at ULM and Bastrop. This all started right there in Bastrop, and I wouldn't give it up for anything. Everything that I've gone through as a young person, learning the game, being cut into seventh grade, coming off the bench primarily all of my high school years. I only started in my senior year and then started in my senior year in college as well after coming off the bench. I wouldn't give it up for anything. I understand what young guys and young ladies are going through today, and that's what I get the joy now sharing. And hopefully they feel that I'm a big brother to them, where they can call me, reach out to me in any way that I can help them along their path.
Right. Before we take another intermission, you spoke on LeBron being there for his first couple of years in the NBA, and LeBron kind of gets a bad rap from a lot of blogs, and he's a big topic of discussion. Explain to the kids out there about LeBron's will and his drive when you first met him.
One thing that when I left Utah, I had been there at Utah 9 years, as I said, with two of the greatest players of all time, John Stockton and Karl Malone. I witnessed their work ethic, their high work ethic, and in practice, not just in game, in practice. They were working their first one in, last one to leave most times, and they would come into shape every year for training camp. We had to do a physical and get evaluated. Carl and John at 38, 39 years old would outrun the rookies that were brought in. And so I had witnessed for those 9 years two of the greatest players, and with their leadership and work ethic. And so when I left and arrived in Cleveland and saw this young 19-year-old kid, LeBron James, I would call him a kid because he's only 19, but at the same time, he's 6'9" and a man. He's a man-child, 6'9", 260. It's amazing that the things that he were able to do. His work ethic was shadowed that same thing of Karl Malone and Stockton, always in shape, in condition. But what amazed me more so about LeBron than Karl and John was that he is so sharp cerebrally. I mean, he knew the game at 19 years old. He was so mature from a player standpoint. He was so much further ahead of veterans, even veteran players that were on the team. He had a way of just remembering everything. He never really looked you in the eye when you're on the bench at timeouts, and he never looked the coach in the eye when he's talking, but he's listening and he's taking everything in, not only what his assignment was, but he knew what everyone else's assignments were and what they had to do. So he was like our coach out on the floor when he left. So that was the amazing thing with LeBron James, his work ethic, his practices, his leadership in the game, and such at such a young age, 19, 20, and 21 years old. He was 21 when I left there. But those were the experiences that made me realize that there's two tiers of professionals. I know in the NBA, for sure. There's the good players, there's the elite players, and then there's the amazing superstars. And there's definitely three levels that are there. And it's really evident when you're with guys every day in practice. You're with the players more than you are with your own family members. So you get to really know each other. You get to know their habits and their work ethics, things of that sort. So it was really a pleasure having an opportunity to work with LeBron to help him advance his game. We were able to become winners during my time there, where we ended up in the NBA Finals. My third trip to the NBA Finals, that was LeBron's first NBA Final in 2007. And we were playing against the San Antonio Spurs, and yes, the Spurs did sweep us. They swept us 4-0. And yes, it was painful, but at the same time, it just made LeBron more hungry. It made him really, there was a taste in his mouth that really drove him to really accomplish what he has accomplished since Cleveland days. He's an amazing athlete. He's an amazing young man, even at a young age. So I have nothing but positive things to say about LeBron.
Right. You know, I'm listening to you. I'm that middle child that had to kind of balance between my older brother and my younger brother in a competitive nature, in that push and that drive, because I had my baby brother pushing to be better than both of us. So,
right.
You know, I understand where you're coming from with that. When the bar is set so high and these expectations are placed on you, it kind of puts you in an awkward place where you really can't be yourself. But I'm listening to your brother Natt, and it all turned out for the best of you because your career ended up taking you to the NBA and beyond. And we're going to take an intermission. When we come back, we want to talk about your many roles that you done played for the NBA in helping develop the youth to prepare themselves to be drafted or play in international ball. And then we want to go back and take us to the hard concrete slabs of Forrest Park where it all began. We'll be right back with legendary and former Sacramento Kings coach Kenny Natt when we return. Welcome back. We're still here with Strop City legendary baller Kenny Natt, former Sacramento Kings head coach and NBA long-term player and coach. Mr. Natt, we was talking about the trials that you faced through your journey through the NBA and pretty much throughout your athletic career, but you overcame it all, and the NBA took you there and beyond. Kind of share with the people some of the roles that you to play beyond the game for the NBA.
Well, after 14 years, 15 years in the NBA as a coach, gave me grand opportunities to be involved in scouting. That was some of the first assignments that was given me to become a college scout, where I would go and watch college games, and I've scouted guys as far back as Tim Duncan. So that was a long time ago. I remember going to the game and watching certain guys. I had to travel to Greece, Athens, Greece, to scout several players that was there. I've been to Africa. I've been to India. I've been to Germany. There's so many different locations from a scouting standpoint, looking at players. There's two forms of scouting pretty much for every sport. One is personnel scouting, which is you're going and watching players and scouting them to evaluate them. And then there's also what we call pro scouting, which is you're going to actually go and you're scouting teams. You're scouting their offensive strategies. You're scouting their defensive strategies without giving any attention to the players. You're just scouting the coach, the strategies, and trying to scout out the calls that he or she's making, things of that sort. So those were the things that it really helped me to develop into a young coach, because I had to do evaluation, live evaluations, as well as watch video film and of players, of teams. So I ended up watching, playing 82 games a year in the NBA. I had to do scouting report, watch at least 3 games for each of the 83 games. So I had to watch 3 games to prepare for every game. So while I'm watching these games, I'm learning. I'm learning what other coaches are doing, the plays that they run, the defensive strategies that they have in the play. So I said, oh, wow, I like this. I like that. You're taking notes on those, and you add them to your repertoire. And say you take some from Phil Jackson, you take something else from another coach, and you take something from another coach over there. And what you have there in Utah with the Jazz, with Jerry Sloan, you add that to all of these, and that's who you become as a coach. Once you become a coach yourself, you have such a repertoire in terms of personnel and pro scouting of teams, offensive and defensive strategies, until it's an amazing resume to have. But it's all part of the process that like I said, it's something that I will never forget. Oftentimes I sit here in my office at home, and I'm looking at the wall, and I've got a lot of memorabilia things, basketball, signs, shoes, sneakers, things of that sort. And it all brings back memories, so many fond memories of my life and my career. And I just enjoy right now just giving it all back to the kids that are coming up, just as Calvin and I were when we came up. We didn't have a basketball rim. We were in maybe middle school, junior high, or beginning into our high school year was when we received our first basketball rim. Prior to that, we were playing with a bicycle rim nailed to a tree. Is where we started playing with our first hoop. They did not have the Forrest Park slab that is out there now. So he played in our backyard. Our dad built us a backboard, and we put a bicycle rim on the backboard, and that's where we played, and that's where we trained. And the locals had an opportunity to come and join in, competing against us and things of that sort. So we had dirt courts in the backyard. That's where we learned to play the game of basketball. And I think where our first lab opportunity was out at Bastrop High. We would walk from Forrest Park to Bastrop High, and they had one basketball slab there at the corner of the basketball gym there. And that's where we played on our first slab, other than playing in Dotson Park. We would make a trip there to Dotson Park. So thinking about our upbringing, where we've gone, Lord has blessed us to accomplish. Calvin and I sit back and just marvel at our blessings, where we've come from. And it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. We're grateful for the opportunity to come from a bicycle rim and being selected into the NBA, having a phenomenal NBA experience as players, and me also as a coach. It's quite a feat when you just take time and think about it. So, but the Lord bless you with a lot to give back a lot. So that's where I am at this point, is giving back.
Right. And I see you do a marvelous job. I was looking into your portfolio with your all Net Hoops Academy. Before we get into that, I want you to share with the people about some of the legends that you came up with or you grew up watching that may not had the opportunity that the Natt boys had that you can just bring back to memories?
Well, some of the first players, as I said, starting back in the third and fourth grade, Miss Inez Grant introduced the game to us, and she introduced it to us by way of another young player by the name of Charles Reese. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
Charles Reese lives
Yes,
right across the street on the same street we all lived on. But he's a couple of years or so older than Calvin, maybe 2 or 3 years older than Calvin. And it was Charles Reese that was on the Miss Grant had him on the stage, and he was handling the basketball, and it was amazing what he was doing with that basketball. And wow, we were just blown away. We went home and told Mom and Dad, we please get us a basketball so we can learn to play and things of that sort. So that's where it started from that standpoint, and then from there it was Lamar Christian and L.C. Washington and guys like that who were playing in high school. It wasn't the NBA guys. We were closer to the people that influenced us most was high school players or college players. You know, maybe played at Graham and whatever. I mean, you had the Willis Reeds coming out of Grambling, and so many different players that in the NBA, the TV. What I did remember watching TV was the Boston Celtics. They were probably the winningest team of all time. So when you turn the TV on in the playoffs, we were watching the Boston Celtics, and I wanted to be like JoJo White. He was my idol from the Boston Celtics, man. And it's amazing how some player can influence the lives of other young aspiring players. So that's why I tell people today, you never know who you can inspire to do something. I mean, does JoJo White know that he inspired me? I'm sure he doesn't. I never had an opportunity to tell him that. And but I told Lamar Christian, I told L.C. Washington, when I did talk to him, I said, you know what, I used to watch you guys. Calvin and I used to watch you guys, man. We wanted to be like you guys in high school, and they could not believe it. What do you mean you were watching us? Yes, you guys were the one that inspired us to really play and try to excel and keep working hard. You know, so be careful because it can go both ways. You can influence people in a positive way, and you can influence them negatively. So those are the things that I cherish right now. We offer those opportunities to people that really set us on a path to accomplish the things that we have.
Right. And, you know, like you said, staying on a positive path and really finding people that's closer to you to be a role model or look up to instead of looking beyond outside of yourself. And that's what I admire about you the most and about the Natt boys, period. You guys always stay humble and you always look to those who was right amongst you, then look to people outside of yourself. And that's a remarkable thing for you to say and mention just then within itself. I want to kind of share with the people about what are you doing with your All Nets Hoops Academy? Right.
Well, one of the things that when I left the NBA coaching, I had an opportunity to go over to India, and I became the head coach of the Indian national team there for 1 year. That was a collaboration between the NBA and IMG World, which is the parent company of IMG Academy. That's a multi-sports training program, high school down in Bradenton, Florida, near Tampa. So I had an opportunity after 1 year of being in India and teaching basketball and coaching in India to return home to IMG Academy. That is a marquee multi-sports training facility down in Florida where all the NBA, NFL, professional golfers, professional tennis players, that's where they all go to get their elite training And it was an opportunity for me. I was the director of the basketball program. I had over 130 kids each year in high school. My teams, I had 12 teams each year, and that was the opportunity for me to share my life experiences with inspiring young athletes. IMG Academy is a high school inside of a multi-training facility. So it is a high school. The kids receive their high school degrees, but all of the kids who are there, all 3,000 of the kids who are attending grades 7 through 12, they are in multi-sport. They are in their sport and they're training 4 hours to 5 hours a day in their sport. Whereas in normal, regular high schools, you only get to do an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of practice. So it's an academy that still exists today. That's in Florida, and the purpose is to train these athletes the best of training, not only athletic training, but life skills and their athletic performance areas, their speed and agility, quickness, their mental capacity, helping them in that respect, nutrition, their dietary programming, things of that sort. So basically the academy helps to develop the complete athlete, not just academically, athletically, but the complete athlete to enable them to perform at the highest level. So I took that model after 4 years of being there at IMG Academy. I took that model myself to say, I'm going to bring this model into the inner cities and really teach kids that can't pay $70,000 a year to receive that type of comprehensive training. So I have developed that with my all net hoops program. That is my private training business program. That is a comprehensive method of training, not only, as I said, athletically, skill development, but also athletic and personal development, developing them mentally, physically, nutrition, and the whole bit. So that's something that I brought and wanted to bring to the inner city. I did in Atlanta, and to work with Paul Millsap with Core 4, his program there. We created an academy at Core 4 in Atlanta where we had elite players there that we trained. So after doing that for 3 years in Atlanta, I decided to return to the area here because I realized that the kids here in this area are not getting, when I say this area, I mean Northeast Louisiana region, not just Bastrop, but the entire northern region of Louisiana is not receiving the level of skills that even the kids down south in Louisiana are receiving. And not to mention what the kids nationwide are receiving from a comprehensive training standpoint. So I've brought my program, my business to this area, and that's what I'm inspiring to do is enhance the level of performance of our athletes so they can actually compete fairly, equally with the kids who are receiving that type of training. Because right now we're fighting a losing battle. Our skill level of our kids locally are not where it should be or could be had they received the type of training that the other kids are receiving. So that's my goal in bringing this business here, is to really develop the kids. And while developing the kids, you also end up developing more competitive programs across the board.
Right. And before we get out of here, Mr. Natt, for the last few minutes, I want you to, from your perspective, I want you to talk to the people of Bastrop and what you would like to see headed forward for the community.
Well, one of the first things I can say, since arriving back, I've tried to reacclimate myself to the community. I've made efforts over the past 12 months that I've been here to go out and meet business people, those at the school board office. Those I've had numerous meetings with Mayor Alford and her staff, and I just want to get back to the area and let everyone know that I'm back here, not just in and out like I've been all my career, but I'm permanently here now. And I'm interested in doing a lot of positive things to help our kids and help our community get back to the level of success that we've all enjoyed over the many years. I know it's tough times. The economy is tough. I realize all of that. I'm a realist in that respect, but at the same time, I know that there's a number of things that can be done for helping establish a stronger foundation for our young men and women. That's something that I'm really focused on. As I said earlier, as part of the NBA, we were required contractually in our contract, we were required to participate in Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters type programs throughout the country. So I've always been involved in reaching out and helping other community kids and things of that sort. So my first objective was to come back and really bring a Boys and Girls Club here for our kids locally in Bastrop. We've started working on that, and when I say we, I mean Mayor Alford, Ron Bush of State Farm. He's heading that the group, and we are dead set on really trying to develop a Boys and Girls Club, bringing it to Bastrop so our kids can have the same type of enrichment programming that kids are receiving throughout the country and even throughout other cities in the northeast region of Louisiana that we don't have in Bastrop. So that's the goal, and we can make it work, and we will make it work. I just keep telling that I've learned that through sports that if you think you're failing, then you will fail. If you think you can succeed in something, you put forth the effort to make it happen, it will succeed. So I have the confidence that we're going to make this happen for the kids and for the community in Bastrop. So I just want everyone to know that I'm here to work with everyone. I mean, I don't need any accolades. I've had enough accolades, and I'm not running for political office. I'm not doing anything of that sort. I'm just a Bastrop guy that have come back after experiencing a lot in my life. I really want to share and help, but I know I can't do it by myself. I need a team of others that really want to do the same thing. And if I can say anything is to those others who are out there, and there's a number of people and groups that are out there doing positive things. I'm just looking to collaborate with everyone else, and hopefully we can get this Boys and Girls Club, and because I think it takes more than one organization anyway to make the impact that is needed in the community. So all of the programs are needed. We just have to work together in as many ways as we can without duplicating services, but expanding our services should be the goal. Do something that others are not doing. So we are hopefully building that, the Aubrey, the relationships with the different agencies, programs that are in existence here in Bastrop already. That is my goal and objective. That's the goal of the mayor and Ron Bush, to really bring Bastrop back to the level that it can be and will be.
Well, Mr. Natt, we here at eMERGE 360. We're willing to help you with any endeavors that you may have now that you're back in the community. And we really appreciate you for coming on today and dropping those jewels and gems on us. And I want to let you know, my brothers, and they're listening. We talked about this, and we want to let you guys know, the Natt family, that you guys are the ones that inspired us to go on to play college baseball and be the productive citizens that we are today. And that's why we're giving you your flowers. Tell Carl, Kenny, Evelyn, and the rest of the crew that the Odom boys, we appreciate every last one of you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I'll make sure we do that, and I'm happy to have this opportunity. You invited me on with your Emerge 360 family to share some of the things that may enlighten them, or they may share something that I've said with someone else that may enlighten their young child or their young family member to inspire to reach the highest levels possible. So it takes a village, and I'm here to work with everyone. Okay.
Yes, sir. And we love you, and we hope we'll see you real soon. I'm your host, Maserati. This has been brought to you by Involved Social and Civic Club, 720 Gamers Group, Bracell Family Insurance Agency, All Net Hoops Academy, and Stepping Stones LLC of Jonesboro, Louisiana. Until next time, y'all stay involved, stay encouraged, and most of all, y'all stay immersed. We out here.
I was raised in the ghetto. I've been to the bottom. Ain't nothing at the bottom for me. Only tell all my problems. Seems he can only solve it for me. I was raised in the ghetto. See, struggle ain't no stranger to me. I grind hard.